Gold prices have been surging this year, with new record highs being made almost each month, it seems. And even the average investor is taking note, creating a growing interest not only in gold, but other precious metals as well. Okay, true to its recent form, gold hit another record high during trading hours on Wednesday, falling back a little bit by the end of the session. U.S. gold futures settled at $2,729, solidly above the $2,700 mark that it broke for the first time at the end of last week. And that was just a few weeks after it hit $2,600. Now, gold started off the year around $2,000 an ounce, which means it's gone up about 32% so far this year. Okay, joining us now to talk about surging gold prices and other precious metals out there is Harvinder Kalirai. He is the Chief Global Fixed Income and Currency Strategist at Alpine Macro and joins us from Montreal. Good to see you. Thanks very much for taking time to chat with us.
Not at all. Nice to be here.
What has been driving the rally in gold and silver, and also the interest in buying platinum?
Sure. In terms of gold, the main driver is really the central banks. It really started since the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Central banks were looking to diversify away from not just the US dollar, actually all G10 currencies. You have to remember that the freezing of Russia's reserves was not concentrated only in Russia's dollar reserves, but all of Russia's G10 currency reserves. So Russia's euro reserves, sterling reserves, they've all been frozen. So moving from the dollar to other fiat currencies is not really a safe bet for a lot of central banks. So the only thing that they can really move into is gold as an alternative currency, not just to the dollar, but all fiat currencies. So that's really been the principal driver. I don't think there's been much demand really coming from investors. Real interest rates have been high. The dollar has generally been strong. Stock markets have been doing well. That's not an environment where investors are really flocking to gold. It's really been a story about central banks.
Well, central banks certainly are, but if once readers start checking out the fact this is up 32% this year, do you think people are going to jump on the bandwagon? And in terms of what it means to central banks, do you think this rally is going to be sustained?
Sure. There are obviously going to be some momentum chasers. So seeing things rally, some people are going to try to get on the bandwagon. Personally, I would be a little bit cautious short term, just because we've had this massive rally in precious metals, and technically they are looking overbought. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get a short-term pullback. But yeah, you could get some momentum chasing private investors. But I think what would really trigger investor demand is if we get the Federal Reserve and other central banks continuing to cut interest rates, and we get some sort of weakness in the US dollar. Then I think we would really get a big flow of investor demand into precious metals.
Yeah, you know, the equity market is just elevated to almost near record levels right now. So what about institutional investors who may be looking to diversify a bit? Do you think they're going to be keen on gold? How much are they buying compared to retail investors?
Sure. You know, from a long-term perspective, gold offers diversification benefits. You know, this year, yes, gold is up a lot, but so are some of these high-flying tech stocks. So, you know, everything has gone up. Gold would really shine as a diversifier if these other assets were under pressure, and gold was holding up reasonably well. You know, if we start getting, you know, concerns about, you know, U.S. fiscal policy and after the election, I think we could see institutional investors, private investors increasingly look to gold as a diversifier for their portfolios. Yes.
You know, it's also interesting because here in the U.S., one of the big box stores, Costco, it sells gold, sells silver, sells platinum, and you know, people just are attracted to shiny objects, for lack of a better message there. Do you think people are going to be looking for this precious metals to invest in just because it's so available?
Again, I think it really needs to be the fundamentals that drive this investor demand. Again, you know, there will be momentum chasers that may want to play the trend, but for you know, a longer-term investment perspective, I think you really need lower interest rates, a weaker dollar, a rising equity risk premium to really get investors enthused about gold. Honestly, we don't have those conditions just yet, but that's not to say that they won't develop over the coming months and quarters.
Well, Harvinder, very good, logical advice there. Let's hope the investors follow this, and good stuff from you. Thank you so much for your insight.
My pleasure.